welcome everyone. Are you ready to move through 3 more chapters within the book of Numbers? And the chapters today we are covering is chapter 11, 12 and 13. And this is from the King James's Bible. So we will get started with chapter 11. And I've put this as the title as Food Complaining because the Israelites have just come out of the wilderness of Sinai. And they are on their journey now towards the Promised Land, and it's only been a few days, and already they are starting to moan about the food that they're eating. They're tired of eating just the bread, and they want meat. I mean, to me, it reminds me of like when kids are in the back of a car on a long journey, and they start complaining when they're in the back, and you've only gone so far, and they're like, "Are we there yet? Are we nearly there yet?" So it's kind of like that. So as the Israelites are complaining, the Lord hears this and he becomes so angry because they're complaining that they have not got food, and he's under their care and he's giving them all of these things, and he's just like furious. So he creates a fire, and this fire like goes right round the outskirts of the camp, and it actually kills some of the Israelites, and they go running to Moses, "Please, please help." And Moses then prays to the Lord and the fire is quenched. And so this land ends up getting called Tabarath because the fire of God burned amongst them. Now you'd think this would stop them complaining, right, and going on about it, but no, shortly after off they go again. Because their cravings for the meat, just their desires are just so strong and they can't quench it, and so they're complaining and they're saying, "Who will give us meat?" Which angers the Lord, this, because he's there and he's like saying, "I'm here, your God," and they're still not trusting he's there. And they're like, "Who will give us meat?" Like they've had all of these things happen to them. They've got like a cloud over the tabernacle leading them. They've got fire, and they're still asking, "Who will give us meat?" They're also reminiscing about Egypt. "Oh, how good we had it there," forgetting that they were slaves. They're looking at the food, they're just thinking about the cucumbers that they used to have, and the melons they're talking about, and the onions and the garlic. And it's like, have you ever watched the TV show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? It's about celebrities being in the jungle and all their great foods are taken from them, and you see how we as a people, we're so used to these luxury foods that when we're suddenly only given things like rice and stuff like that to eat, we start craving these things. And this is kind of what this chapter is all about, this desire in us for foods that we just cannot quench, and so they're complaining and complaining because all they've got is manna, which is this flour and oil that is mixed together. They make these cakes out of it. They've got plenty food, but it's just not to their liking. They want meat. That is what they're asking for. And Moses keeps hearing the cries from the camps as they're around him, and he's starting to get angry, and the Lord's angry as well. And he talks to the Lord and he's saying, "I'm tired of this. Why did you give me all of this burden? Why? They're not my people. You created them. I feel like I'm a father with 6,000 kids and I've got to feed them all. It's too much for me. I'd rather die than take on all of this burden." He doesn't want to take it on at all. So God tells him, "Look, bring 70 of the elders to the tabernacle, and he'll place the Spirit of God upon them, just like Moses, so they'll be able to prophesy, and they'll be able to assist Moses in his duties here with providing the Israelites with meat." He promises that he will provide them with meat. So he tells the Israelites to consecrate themselves, get ready for tomorrow, because meat is going to be coming tomorrow. He said he's heard them weep and going on about the food, and also that they've got it so bad here that they'd rather be back in Egypt. And for this, he's quite angry, saying, "You're going to get meat, but you're not trusting in me. And for this reason, you're going to have so much food, not for just one day, not for 2 days, not for 5, 10, 20. You'll eat for an entire month." And this is what it says. It says, "Until it comes out your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you." So he's going to give them so much food that they're going to be like sick and so tired of that and feeling sick to their stomachs because, they've been greedy, they've been just like lusting after this, and it's like he's giving them another lesson, really. Now Moses, before this all happens, has doubts. He's looking around the camp, he's seeing they've only got small herds. there's no water really for fish, he's like, so he's saying to the Lord, where are you going to get all this food from? We're going to slaughter all of the cattle that we've got. Where are we going to get fish? What's going to happen? And the Lord just tells Moses to trust in him, he will provide the food. So Moses does as God asks, and he brings those 70 elders to the tabernacle. God places his spirit upon them so they can prophesy, but only for this one time only. It's not going to be forever, it's just this one time only, so they can assist Moses in getting the people fed. And now as all this is happening, the 70 elders that were chosen, there's 2 outside of the camp that didn't come to the tabernacle, and they're actually prophesying. This one guy sees it all and thinks, this isn't right, they shouldn't be prophesying outside of the tabernacle, so he runs like a telltale. I'm going to tell Moses. Off he goes, tells him. And when Moses hears this, he's actually pleased, because he's thinking, well, great, I'd rather have more people actually connected to God and being able to hear what's meant to be going on, then it's less of a burden for me. So he's actually pleased with this happening. And so with these 70 elders and the others prophesying, a wind from the Lord comes to the camp, and it blows, and it brings quail flying from the sea, and they just come and they fall and they cover the land where they're at with all of this quail. There's so much of it, there's an abundance, and the people are all running and gathering, and then they're starting to cook it and eat it. They're eating it. God is just disgusted by the way they are just so like hungering after all of this food. And so he ends up sending a plague upon them. So this place where they gather the quail is called Kibroth Hatavan, meaning graves of craving. So there we have it. That closes our chapter 11, and we move into Numbers chapter 12. And this is more complaining, but now this isn't the Israelites, this is Moses' brother and sister, Miriam and Aaron. And they're complaining that Moses has married an Ethiopian wife. But as they're complaining about this, they're also complaining that he thinks he's the only one who speaks to God. He also speaks to us too, and they're going on like this. And God hears this, and he becomes really angry, and he immediately calls Aaron, Miriam, and Moses to the tabernacle. So they've all got to go immediately there. And God reminds Miriam and Aaron that Moses is the chosen one. He has the stature, he's faithful to him, he's the one he's chosen, and they should fear him because he is so close to God. He is so holy in comparison to all the rest of them. And he's angered at the way that they have treated him and gone on in this way. So he ends up giving Miriam leprosy. And Aaron quickly says, please, Lord, don't do this to us. And so does Moses. He says, do not do this to her, please. And the Lord says, she will keep this for 7 days, and then it will diminish. So he's giving her a lesson. It's like there's a lesson there. So she's the one who has the leprosy. She has it for 7 days. And the camp does not move on its journey until Miriam is cleared and becomes clean from the leprosy. So that was chapter 12. Now we move on to chapter 13. This is about spying at Canaan. So the Lord commands Moses to send out all the leaders of the tribe to go and spy on the land of Canaan. And Moses specifically tells the leaders to go to the south end of the island, upon the mountains, and look upon the land. And he wants them to evaluate, firstly, if the people are strong or weak, if there are few of them or many of them, if the land is good or bad, rich or poor, if there's forest land there, they need to do all of these observations, if their cities are fortified or are they just camps. And he also asked them to specifically bring some fruit from the land. So it's bring some evidence back that you've been there and that there is this abundance that we are moving towards. So the leaders of the tribes set out and they go towards the land of Canaan. And they spy on the land, and they're out there for 40 days. And they come back and they bring a cluster of grapes, some pomegranates and some figs. And they come, you can imagine them coming, the tribes coming, and the people must have seen them coming, and they are holding these grapes on a sort of a pole. They're coming in, they come towards the tabernacle in front of the congregation, because I'm sure they sounded the trumpets, I would have thought, and they all gathered ready. And there we have it, they're all standing there. So the tribes are there, They have this food. They say, look what we brought. And they said, the land truly flows with milk and honey. This is the fruits that we have brought. The people are strong and the cities are fortified and very large. And plus we saw the descendants of Anak. The Amalekites dwell in the south. The Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of Jordan. So they've made some really good observations. Now, one of the leaders from the tribe of Issachar, Caleb, he says, we can get there and we can overcome them. We can take over that land. He is really strong. He's got faith and he thinks, we've got God on our side. We can go in there and we can make this land our own. But unfortunately, the rest of the men, they don't think so. And they exaggerate the situation, They say, no, we can't overcome these people, They're like giants. We're like grasshoppers in comparison. And the land devours its inhabitants. They're very scared and they're obviously not in faith that God would help protect them, and be on their side. So they are the complete opposite to Caleb, who stood there really thinking, we can do this. And yet he's outnumbered by the rest of the tribe saying, no, we can't, and I guess their story's exaggerating to the point, will that feed into the fear of all of the Israelites thinking, oh, we can't take it on, because the doubt sets in and fear takes a hold, and then, you slowly lose your grip on that strong-willed unity. You need all to be united. They need to get on the side of Caleb. He could even convince Moses, because Moses has doubted already. If we look at chapter 12, he wasn't sure that they were going to be provided with meat when God said they would. And I mean, they've had all these signs and yet they still doubt. They still haven't got that strong will within them. So this journey is almost about building that up, as they're going towards the promised land. They're building up that belief, that strong faith in God to be there for them and to protect them. So they've still got a lot of learning to do. That's what I can see through going out these chapters. Because if you can see, we've had them craving after food and not believing that the Lord will provide for them. So it's and then Moses' own brother and sisters complaining and getting jealous that he's the only one speaking to God, and having this specialness. They don't want to see him as special. But I mean, the Lord has chosen that. It's just let it be. One person is taking on. It's not like he's got this glorious job. Because look at Moses. He's finding it a real burden to take on all of this responsibility. But it's because they're his brother and sister, they probably don't like feeling like they're under him in some way. So they want that specialness too, which isn't always a good thing. And then the final, looking on this wonderful land, it's giving them the insights as to what is to come, where they're going to arrive, what's going to be there for them. Look at all this fruit. I mean, they must have been so pleased seeing these figs and pomegranates, and grapes, and having those to eat and thinking, oh, that is more like an incentive for them to want to get there and, have this land for themselves. So, yeah, I can see the Israelites have still got a lot of learning to do and growth. So we will continue more on tomorrow in Numbers. So thank you for being here and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye.